So I wanted to talk about the big recording studios in Philadelphia and what their flaws were, um, acoustically or structurally. And all of them had it. There was Sigma Sound, and Sigma Sound, their biggest flaw was they had these columns that were right in the middle of the studio. And it always annoyed Joe Tarsi, these columns. Some of them, they were kind of hidden in the construction, so you didn't see them. But if you look at the pictures of the A room, you'll see there's a column right in the middle of the live room. He always wanted those gone. But other than that, the place was built really well. It was well insulated and isolated, and so they did pretty good over there. But those columns drove Joe crazy. Studio 4, which was down in the 444, I think was it North 4th Street, North 3rd, I forgot. When their place was in the basement of an office complex, and when they recorded or played, the sound went everywhere. So acoustically okay in the room, but it wasn't isolated, so it went everywhere. And even when they moved to what was it, Conshohocken, when they were recording in there, because I was in the studio, and you could walk around the outside perimeter, and it was loud, so no isolation, but still got the job done. There was another big studio in Philadelphia called Alpha International, and they were competition to Sigma. So you see the Alpha and the Sigma. And that place eventually turned into the Opera House, and it was it's a bunch of recording studios now. But when it was Sigma, Alpha, their control room was made out of bricks. It was a small control room, and they had a big live room. So their control room needed to be bigger, but in that day and age, that's how big the control rooms were. But as things went on, you needed a bigger control room. So that was kind of their flaw, if you would say, if you would say that. And the Warehouse recording studio, that they spent a ton of money putting that place together, and it was built great. The only thing is they ran out of money doing the roof. So whenever it rained, you could hear the rain hitting the roof. So, I talked to Obie O'Brien, who was one of the owners there, and he said, it was simple. We just didn't record when it rained. But everything else, they just worked around, and I mean, big, beautiful studio. But the roof was never done. So those are the kind of the main. Oh, and then there was Cajun. That was the other big studio that turned into Stone Creek Studios. They had their control room and their live room, but they found out that recording the drums in this area that was not treated sounded fantastic. But it's whenever they played in that untreated room, it went out all over the place. But they were lucky enough that they were in an area that there weren't too many houses around. They were in Gladwin, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philadelphia. So when they recorded like big amplifiers or big drums, or the sound went everywhere. And when I say everywhere outside. The other flaw about that studio, and we found it out when Boyz II Men took it over, we couldn't turn the heater off. It was kind of a good bad thing. You got free heat because it was taking water from the creek and somehow was heating it. I don't know how it was doing it, but it wasn't costing much to heat the place. But they couldn't control it somehow, and nobody wanted to fix it. So you had to be conscious of that heat that was going on. But those are the kind of the flaws of the big recording studios in Philadelphia. All of them have done excellent work. All of them have huge hits that came out of it, and the engineers just had to work around those shortcomings. But that's part of the game.